used to rule the world. Seas would rise when I gave the word. Now in the morning I sleep alone. Sweep the streets I used to own. I used to roll the dice, feel the fear in my enemy's eyes, listen as the crowd would sing. Now the old king is dead, long live the king. The minute I held the key, next the walls were closed on me, and I discovered a castle stand upon pillars of stone and pillars of sand. Here Jerusalem bells are ringing, Roman cavalry choirs are singing. Be my mirror, my sword and shield, my missionaries in a foreign field. For some reason I can't explain, I know St. Peter won't call my name. Never an honest word, that was when I ruled the world. The wicked and wild wind blew down the doors to let me in. Shattered windows and the sound of drums. People couldn't believe what I'd become. Revolutionaries wave through my head on a silver plate. I'm just a puppet on a lonely string. Now who would ever want to be king? Now here Jerusalem bells are ringing, a Roman cavalry choirs are singing. Be my mirror, my sword and shield, my missionaries in a foreign field. For some reason I can't explain, I know St. Peter won't call my name. Never an honest word, that was when I ruled the world.
I figured that I could have let that go the whole time, but
What
I figured
is like 5 minutes long, isn't it?
Yeah, it's like 5 minutes long. So I figured, I was like, oh, people don't want to wait that long.
What is that from?
The movie or like the visuals?
No.
Or the
yeah, like is that a movie or?
Yeah, it's a I forget. It's some kind of was it? I forget the name of the movie, but basically it's a kind of skit film, kind of parody of like if Adolf Hitler came back in current time, like he was reincarnated or something.
Oh,
like
okay.
That. I forget the name of that film. Let's see.
No big deal.
No, I have to find it. Oh yeah.
Do you ever see Jojo Rabbit?
Oh, Look Who's Back is what it's called. It was I forget it's it's actually in Germany. Like, I think that they created this film.
I'm surprised they let that go in Germany.
Yeah, normally they're really
kind of
censorious
Nazis about that stuff.
Yeah, they're Nazis about the history of the Nazis.
This is
it was funny because like they won't even let like stuff. That's what like games like Call of Duty, like they would say, oh, they make a World War II game. Oh, we can't have the Nazi flag because Germany is real restrictive on whether or not you show the Nazi flag. I think that was just like gods, like they were trying to cover for themselves. Like, hey, we don't want to show the Nazi flag, but I mean, it was a good cover. Like, hey, Germany won't let us do it, guys. But
yeah, well, we had a German exchange student, I don't know, a few years back, and he told us like there was video games that you could buy in Germany or Europe that you couldn't buy in, or vice, or you could buy in America, but you couldn't buy in Germany that had like the Nazi flag in them. So they don't allow it.
Yeah.
This is just real quick. It's just like my favorite thing.
Most of the world's problems stem from poor self-image.
It's just the best.
It's like they're doing like Virgin Hitler versus Chad. Like which guy was that supposed to be depicted? Was that like supposed to be a historical figure? I can't remember.
I don't know. I think it was just a Jewish guy. The other guy,
yeah.
just one of, those big buff Jewish guys you see everywhere. Oh shit! Oh, that's for an old one too. Yeah, I was curious about that opening because I think the only time I'd seen it I was driving. So I don't think I saw the whole thing or something. I was like, what is that? Oh well. We were talking about before the show started. We were talking about like France and I guess Holland and stuff is like popping off. And did somebody say something in the comments? No, I don't know. I guess not. But I feel like France is always having like riots and shit, but they don't talk about it here. I feel like it's like every couple months you'll see something where they're having riots and protests, and it's like a big deal, but you don't hear anything about it over here. And so then I'm always like, okay, well, what is actually happening? What's real? And then it's like, okay, you can imagine if they were having oftentimes protests and riots, they wouldn't show it over here because, of course, the narrative here is Europe is this amazing, perfect, progressive place.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, they have it every 3 or 4 years. They always have big riots. Wasn't it the Yellow Vest riot?
Mm-hmm.
Was that
the Yellow Vest
a few years
one.
back?
Went on for a while.
Yeah. So I mean, I think every like 4 or 5 years, 3 or 4 years, whatever, they have to have a good riot just to kind of get it out of their system, and then they go back to normal for a little while.
Their purge, if you will.
But this one,
Yeah.
this one's interesting because it was like the cops shot somebody and killed him.
it was literally like the
And then Soros, somebody else's group went in there and started breaking stuff.
I mean, literally, it was basically like the BLM riots. I mean, the same premise, which is crazy because, like, you would think that they wouldn't be. I mean, I know it's mainly because of their immigration policy. Because if you look at their immigration policy, they've essentially allowed anybody to come in, and a lot of them are claiming refugee status even whenever they're not refugees.
Yeah.
That's a huge problem.
It's also a lot of stuff like this, though. Now, I think we'll get into this. I think that these two issues collide with what's currently going on in Holland, from what I'm to understand. But this was in 2019, and this isn't the first time it happened. Because a lot of it's like farm related, as well, like agriculture. And the farmers there are pretty fucking based, and yeah, they spray manure on government buildings when they're upset, which I just fucking love.
That was beautiful.
Mm-hmm.
Did you see the one? There's video of them like just spraying it right in the palace, like breaking the windows and everything. That's just gorgeous.
Worse than 9/11. It was worse than Pearl Harbor. I don't know what Bastille Day. I don't know what tragedies happened in France. I think Bastille Day.
Not enough. They still keep electing the same morons over and over again.
So yeah, I heard there's some shit going on in France with that, and then Holland, I guess, as well. I couldn't find like an article yet to actually like back this up or get details, but from posts I was seeing, they were saying that they're taking over like 3,000 farms or taking them away from the families who own them, and then one of the reasons I saw given was to house migrants. I don't know. I have a hard time believing that that's actually the case. I'd have an easy time believing they're taking
that
farms
is
for a number of reasons.
That is what's the show? No Agenda. They were talking about that. And they're doing what they did in South Africa. They're taking away the farmland and then giving it to migrants, and then that have never farmed or can't farm. But they're also basically destroying all the farms in that country so much, as well.
There's so much space. It just seems like huge. But they were saying, I guess Klaus Schwab is up there promoting it or something.
Yeah.
Oh, that sucks. I like Holland. You're muted, Trey.
Trey, can't hear you.
It's because it's because they want corporate farming. That's why they want all corporate farming. It's not like the they don't want the small farmers. They don't want individual farmers because they know that's like self-sustaining. They want all of the corporate farms to be the only farms. I mean, whether you say, "Oh, Bill Gates is buying up all the farmland," or the Chinese are buying up all the farmland, or whatever, it's all about corporate farming, whether or not it's them or not. Like,
well, that way they can control what you're consuming. You know, now you're going to be eating everything with soy in it.
Yeah,
you know, certain things are easier to commoditize and or tax. So, good old grain,
Yeah,
and soy.
Grain and
it's
soy.
interesting now that I'm doing
corn now too. You know, because they're they're promoting more ethanol. Like they're pushing more corn-based ethanol.
It burns hotter, burns faster, makes your engine burn out quicker.
Yeah, well, and it doesn't even last as long. Like that's the biggest thing is like you got to use more of the ethanol based fuel than you do the regular gasoline.
The only pro argument for it is it's the money. It's just that they can keep growing more corn and keep the corn subsidies going and all that. You know, it's they sell some shit like, oh, it's just a byproduct, and it doesn't necessarily have to be effective or good. But if they can sell some or bribe some politicians to somehow make more of it. You guys know the issue with corn. It's the government. They pay the difference, right, between market price and there's a set price. So the market price drops lower and lower every year, and the only solution a farmer has is to plant more corn. So anybody who just knows basic economics knows what that does to the price. But then the government pays that difference. So they just grow more corn. The government pays them, and they squeak by another year. It's pretty rough, but then we have all this fucking corn, so let's figure out something.
Okay, so you're a farmer. I do a lot of farmers markets too. Wouldn't it be better for them to grow vegetables that they can make a lot more money on?
Yeah, but the thing is that the corn farms they're not at the farmers market. These are
I understand that, but like
10,
okay,
20,000 acre farms.
Yeah, but wouldn't it be better for them to do like tomatoes and carrots that you can charge more for?
Well, I guess so.
It depends on the soil, and there's a lot of different stuff. Like if corn grows best on that land, a lot of times like that's what they'll stick to.
It's also that corn keeps. You can take corn down and they can dry it and they can store it in a silo for years. Whereas like tomatoes, you can't necessarily do that. So
you gotta basically bring them to market immediately.
Yeah,
at the market I'm at now,
into 200 products.
Yeah, but you can do the same with tomatoes. You can can them. You can do, you can make sauces. You can do all kinds of stuff with tomatoes too. It's like,
but you have to do it within that window of the ripeness of.
I'd also, I guess we have plenty of tomatoes. I mean, don't have a shortage of tomatoes. We have not far from us, twice a year they grow. There's a couple farms that are, hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of acres of tomatoes. Yes, they do exist, but I think just like, like in like Justin's neighborhood, like they're just corn town for whatever reason. I think that they're geared to do corn. And it's, like fuck, man, you go, and it's sad for the farmers because like a lot of these farmers, and Justin can tell me I'm full of shit or not, but I think that a lot of them, like they have hundreds of thousands of acres, they grow corn, but they're still truckers. Or they still have another job, and their whole thing growing corn is just to keep paying the payment on the tractor. This huge tractor that they should have never bought. The silos and shit that is just it's these big agricultural salesmen that sell this stuff. Because Steve, I agree with you. Like I agree with you. Like that's the smarter move. Use it for diversity. Don't plant it all just in corn. There's a lot better stuff you could do with the land. I think it's really detrimental to the land itself and the overall productivity of it.
I missed the entire front end of this, and
we're talking about corn. Why do they grow corn instead of other shit? And I'm just like, well, they're incentivized financially, and the way the government is set up is just to make more corn, and the price is driven below market value, but the subsidies make up for it. And Steve was inquiring why don't they just grow other shit there? And I had some reasons, one of which being like, well, either you're kind of stuck. You start growing corn, and then you're just growing corn to pay the fucking mortgage and pay the tractor. It's very mechanized. A lot less man labor than a lot of other vegetables too. You don't.
Yeah, but what do they do with all that corn though? They end up throwing half of it away.
No.
Well, not if you turn it into ethanol.
No.
That gets thrown away.
But okay, the really good book, Omnivore's Dilemma. The first like 100 pages of it is about corn, and yeah, dude, they take the corn to what's called a wet mill. They make 200 other products out of it for food. It's really switching over a lot more to soy than when this book was written like 10 years ago. But back then, and if you read the labels, you see, I mean, it's like half the things in the ingredients list, they don't say corn, but they're a corn derivative. Now it's getting more into soy, but it's one of these big commodity things. I mean, go to the grocery store. First ingredient in fucking everything is soybean oil. You know, every salad dressing, every mayonnaise, everything. So they get it was like corn a few years ago, though. So they're making the switch, but it's like they get some commodity. And then that's from a centralized bureaucracy, growing a single commodity crop makes the most sense. You know, it's the simplest from from a management thing. It's the easiest to tax. It's the easiest to monitor. It's the easiest to do trade deals, etc. So I just think that it's just a big bureaucracy thing that really
I think the
drives it.
I think the mistake Steve is making is Steve is confusing sweet corn for field corn. These are two.
No, I'm not.
Very, very,
I know
very,
it's different.
If you think that the corn is like going to waste, you are. It's not. Corn, you can keep corn in a silo for 3 years. Most of the corn that we grow here in the United States either goes towards ethanol, meal, or I think at the time I got out of the market or out of the business, it was something like 60% of the corn that we grow gets exported. There's huge markets all over the world, especially in India, over in like the Asian East Asian
China,
islands, China. Yeah, there's
Well, I
huge
mean,
markets.
I know
Japan literally owns the largest grain company on the planet exclusively for the purpose of exporting corn and soybeans from the United States to Japan to feed their cattle and different stuff like that so that they can keep producing food for Japan. There's a huge market there. None of the corn that's being grown is going to waste.
I know that it was mostly feed corn, but I was under the impression that a good percentage of it did not hit the market.
The stuff that can't be used for feed can be used for ethanol or other types of stuff. And even the
3D printer filaments made out of corn.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's a lot of use for corn outside of just the feed market side of it. And even the feed market side of it is pretty flexible. Like the stuff that's on the like last legs of its life, like the stuff that's been in a bin for 4 or 5 years, it can still be used for ethanol production. It can still be used for making like filaments and stuff. Like it has a whole lot of it's very flexible in its purpose. And a part of the reason that, like, for what Dag was talking about with the shift to soybean oil and stuff like that, is that a lot of that is because of what happened in like the mid 2000s with the push for ethanol. So they started pushing for ethanol, which drove a lot of the corn production and like corn oil and stuff like that into the ethanol markets, which I've talked ad nauseum about this. It's the least effective way to make ethanol. And ethanol is the least effective form of fuel of alternative fuel on the fucking planet. And using corn for it is completely stupid. But the morons in Washington got this idea that
even
corn-based ethanol was like
even
a great
hydrogen
idea.
There, wouldn't it?
And it's at the time when they were really, and they still push all these subsidies. Joe Biden talked about it like a year or so ago, how great or how much they're going to push for these like corn-based ethanol subsidies to try to take pressure off the market. And like, that's so fucking stupid. We can literally import sugarcane-based ethanol from South America for cheaper than what we can make it from corn here, and it's a higher quality product. But that's neither here nor there. So what ended up pushing soybeans into it is because they started pushing corn for the whole corn-based ethanol thing, which drove the amount of ethanol they wanted to make from corn outpaced the amount of corn we grow in the country. Like, you needed more corn than what we've grown ever in history to make the ethanol that they wanted to make. So that's when everything shifted over to soybeans being a more prevalent part of soybean oil, soybean meal, all of that being more pushed into the food side of stuff over corn, which is completely ass backwards. It should actually be going the other way. Soybean oil and soybean based biodiesel is actually a much more efficient and a much more environmentally friendly direction to go if you want to do a fuel from a fuel perspective. But of course, this is all being driven by our government. So whatever the most ass backwards way to do it is, that's the way they're going to do it. And soybean oil and soybean meal are also less healthy for you than corn oil and corn meal. So like they have completely flipped the thing backwards from the way it ought to be. Go figure, right?
It is crazy because I was bitching.
Farmer rant.
I was bitching like a decade ago about corn, and now I'm like, fuck,
we start
could you go
talking
back to
about
corn.
We start talking about farming, and of course, the our resident Mexican viewer has to.
Well, like SDG says, but ethanol allows you to run a high boost and make hella power in your race car. Yeah, and you'll burn your engine out in about a quarter of the time. That's another problem, that the ethanol burns so much hotter. Like, I don't know. It's just it's completely stupid the way they've done this.
And that's why Hyundai is burning through engines really fast in America only in America.
Right. That's it is exclusively because of the ethanol additives that have been put into our fuel system, like this this minimum 10%, and then you've got the E85 that's a minimum 15%, and sometimes those go up to 20. Like unless you have an engine that is specifically built for E85, it is just burning you up.
Well, I don't know about where you guys are at, but E85 here was huge for about 2 years, and then now you can't find. There's actually pumps that just do E85, and they're in the middle of nowhere now. Like you can't find it at regular gas stations anymore because it burns the hell out of the engines. So everybody stopped using it.
Even the engines that were specifically designed for it, it still wasn't good.
Yeah, it's still burning those out.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, there was. Yeah, that was. You had to have a flex fuel or whatever they called it. Back in the early 2000s.
Yeah.
We actually have a lot of like the new. Do you guys have racetrack gas stations up there? I don't know. They're a bigger, nicer gas station.
Nope.
I really like them, but they're new. They're remodeling. Their new pumps have diesel, E85, and then regular handles. At each fucking pump. And then a couple ethanol frees. Usually, most of the good gas stations out here have ethanol free. Or if you're out in the middle of nowhere, you can find gas stations that just sell ethanol free for.
How much more is it for
most of them
ethanol
are
free?
E80.
It's a bit more,
There's
but
a little
we
bit
tend to use it in our outboards and older stuff. Older vehicles and stuff. It's better in because they've been doing the. I'm not saying that it's a good thing or that it's good for the engines or anything, but they've been doing, I think, up to 10% ethanol for quite some time, and then they had to start labeling it on the pumps, and I think that's when a lot of people started freaking out about it. And I was like I get it, but it's like this isn't new, but this was still a long time ago. But that's when like the E85 and everything started coming out. They were really trying to bump that up, but that was it really became apparent that especially if you have an engine that sits. So if you have like an outboard motor that you only take out every 3 months, and the shit just sits in the fuel lines, I guess that's really where you get your big issues. Where you get your big issues. Sorry.
Oh my gosh.
Like on the instructions to like my generator for my house, like it says like when you turn it off, like you don't just turn it off, you shut the fuel off and you let it burn itself out of fuel. And I think it's because you don't want that shit sitting in there for a year until you need it next time, because it gums everything up. The fuel lines are made out of something different. The older vehicles or older motors.
Yep.
They made stuff that actually lasts.
Except apparently for alcohol. Apparently can't handle alcohol. Gasoline, but not alcohol. If you think anything that can handle gasoline can pretty much handle everything. I don't understand chemistry. I think the 88 is it's like the new E85. I think it's for some of the newer cars that are supposed to be able to take it. But if your car doesn't say put 88 in me, I wouldn't.
Well,
so there's the explanation for it's the
okay.
The lines can't handle the alcohol.
Yeah, the eats the petroleum. Makes sense.
Yep.
Guess that would make sense why gas doesn't fuck with them.
Yeah.
Outside of them pushing ethanol, you got to have your ethanol fuel to probably stop climate change. So I'm sure, or your electric car. So I'm sure that we won't have to worry about our vision anytime soon. Could climate affect our eyes? Canadian study finds higher temperatures linked with vision impairment. So higher temperatures have a higher likelihood of vision impairment.
Somehow, I think the amount of screen time that we're spending has a whole hell of a lot more to do with that than the climate. Maybe I'm wrong, but
I'm the furthest.
No, the
south,
climate
and I'm the
change
only
is
one here wearing
forcing you.
glasses.
The climate change is forcing you to have the screen time.
Yeah, that's probably what they're saying.
It's always going to be climate change, no matter what it is. If it's Nazis, it's climate change that caused them to be
1.7.
Nazis.
Don't you
Well,
know people get grumpy when they get hot?
Yeah.
Bob, you're being a real Nazi. Turn down the AC.
Wait, I thought it'd be the opposite. There was the Europeans were complaining that we use our AC too much. So, which is it at this point?
if they had more AC, they might be less likely to riot. Just saying. Like if they were spending more time sitting inside enjoying their nice air conditioning, they might not be outside setting shit on fire.
This is true, but if they weren't being paid to set shit on fire, they'd be less paying, less setting shit on fire too. Of course, they're being paid to do it.
This
Same
is
with
just
the
such a
US.
bogus study. They're saying that the counties with the higher temperatures often have the higher higher vision loss. Like
In Canada?
That's I think
In
this
Canada,
is
it doesn't get above
this is
50
American.
degrees.
Yeah, no, this is
Okay,
an American
here's the
study.
thing. Yeah, this is okay. Let's
This is in Canadian
let's say this
news.
county that's 20 miles, south of this other county, so it's slightly hotter, and the people there have poor vision. Well, if you just follow that logic, you make it all the way down to the dick tip of Florida where I'm at, and we all must be fucking blind, dude.
Yeah.
You are
if
the
it
only
matters.
one wearing glasses on the show.
Yeah, you got glasses on, man.
I know, like I said, man, am I proving
Well,
their point?
Although I'm pretty sure all the rest of
it's
us
only
have contacts
14%.
in. So.
Like if it's measurable.
I just take my glasses off to do the show.
It's not even a huge
We're all just
it's not even a significant difference. They're saying it's like 14% higher chance that you have, or 25% chance if your county is between whatever 12 and
14% higher chance, and then if you take the actual numbers, it was like what was the thing during COVID where people were taking ivermectin, and the state of Mississippi had like a 300% increase in calls to poison control, except that it went from
1 to 3.
yeah, it went from 1 to 4 or something. It's like obviously
300%
increase in calls to poison control because people are taking ivermectin. Like 4 people took ivermectin the wrong way and ended up having a negative outcome. Like that's not a catastrophe. Like I wonder if the 14% that they're showing here is something along those lines. It's like it went from 13 people to 14 people. It's like, oh my gosh.
Yeah, people in other places just don't understand. I hope I'm pulling up a good article here. Yeah, okay, here we go. I don't know if you guys talked about this, but the several British Royal Guards faint due to heat during ceremony. It reached a whopping 86 degrees. That's 30 degrees Celsius. And they're fainting. It's like, oh my God, climate change. It's like, why don't you just stop being pussies? How about that?
Yeah, what a bunch of pussies.
Well, I mean, come on, man. They're in
that gear
pretty good garb, man. That's like wool and stuff, man. You're in like wool in the high 80s and
I was in
direct
marching
sun. You're
band.
gonna pass out too.
I was in marching band. Thank you very much. I carried a fucking bass drum, third bass.
I go out and
the
run
big
3
one,
miles at
for
1 o'clock in
miles.
the afternoon when it's 100 degrees outside.
Yeah, maybe they weren't drinking water. I
just
don't know. Maybe it's their bad teeth.
Well, you don't think they got a camelback stuffed up in that hat? I had all sorts of
That's
snacks
awesome.
and shit in that hat with me at all times.
Like-
It'd be loaded.
Have the camelback up in the hat and have
That'd be awesome.
have the little hose run behind your ear and then just like reach up and
They have no excuses. Yeah.
My son saw these guys doing like he loves the outdoor stuff. And so he's been watching this guy on it's called Outdoor Boys channel. They do a lot of different stuff, camping and everything. And they had a camel backpack or whatever, and he was like, "Oh, I want one so bad." So like my wife ordered him one, and he's just been like walking around. He'll just have the thing on, like looped around and drink it out of it. It's just like pretending he's roughing it or whatever.
Oh, I would have loved that as a kid. Heck yeah.
Oh my gosh, could you imagine if we had those when we were kids? Like the only reason we came back to the house to begin with was because we
for
were about
water.
to pass out from dehydration. Like,
Yeah.
if it
Oh,
wasn't
see,
for-
I just drank
if it
out of
wasn't for that,
the.
we'd have never come back.
Out of
It was
crick.
like,
See, I just drank out of the hose.
Hose?
I would, yeah,
but you
the-
still had to come back to
Sewer.
the house for the hose.
It's like throwing shit out.
Unless you're talking about a
The
different
stagnant swamp, the sewer.
That mud
See,
puddle
either-
outside
I would-
of
I would
Mrs.
either-
Abernathy's house.
either just the faucet itself. Sometimes I would take the hose off though, and just like the faucet itself, just like let it spray me in the face because like, that felt good. When
That's how you cool off, man.
Mhm.
That
See,
was great.
we lived out in the middle of nowhere, so like when we took off out in the summer, like we went out into the woods. Like we're miles away from the house. Like if we had
Yeah, the
Camelbacks
spigot.
where we didn't have to wander back at some point to get a drink, like we'd have just been gone.
You know,
Yeah,
I
they
think
didn't
about
bottle
it, like,
waters when I
drank
was
a ton of
kid.
Water. What's that?
So they didn't have bottled waters when I was kid.
Well, that's what I'm thinking. Is I'm like, man, over summertime. It was obviously hot over the summer when I was a kid too. I know it's way hotter now.
No, climate change wasn't existing then, so it was
Yeah,
like
it-
perfect every
It
day.
must have been 86 tops.
Yeah.
But I don't ever remember, and I drink a ton of water. Like I'm a water dude. I don't ever remember
Yeah.
having like water with me, and just being, like you said, Justin, just gone in the woods, for hours. I don't recall having water with me. I do want to bring something up. Yo, what up, CD?
yeah.
In the private chat, somebody posted some memes of the scene from Forrest Gump where he's running and he has all the followers behind him. And someone pointed this out to me, and I never thought about it, but now it really bothers me. There's this whole herd of people. They're running through the desert. None of them has a bag or a bag. Like, shouldn't they have like water or like something like to sustain off of, or like a granola bar or something? And they're all just running through the desert with nothing, and like in the middle of the fucking desert. And it's like, wait a minute, this doesn't add up.
Yeah, I mean that's
It's a
clearly-
movie, right? That
I
documentary.
know, but
Well, I mean, even Forrest, like he doesn't have anything, and he doesn't ever
doesn't have
stop.
pockets. yeah,
Yeah,
he's
Yeah,
wearing
so,
little
I mean-
gym shorts.
he would actually die. Like
He's pulling it out of his beard. He's got a pretty.
That'd
big
been a better movie. That'd have been a better movie had he
like,
died.
he just-
Like a week and a half into just running across the country, Forrest just falls over and dies from no food or water. They're just like, well,
I
that
forgot
poor
to eat.
retard dead on the side of the road. Guess we better pick him up.
Switch
Like,
skip for letting him go out
okay, like-
unsupervised.
Yeah. That would have been a way better movie.
all of a sudden they get the like stretcher, bring out a hearse, and
Should I tell why that was posted in the private chat?
Oh, please do.
Since I don't
Do
think
it.
she's watching. So I look my wife, like I go into our bedroom. She's sitting in the bed watching Golden Girls, of all things. I go in the room, I take off my clothes, I put on my gym shorts and my running shoes and get all of my running shit together. My headset, the carrier that I put my phone in, I've got everything. And I look straight at her and I say, all right, I'm going for a run. I'll be back in a little bit. And then my ass goes out the door. I get halfway through my run and my phone starts ringing and it's her. And I'm thinking, holy shit, what's going on? Like, what's wrong that she's calling me? So I try to answer it and it won't patch through the headset for some reason. So I disconnect the headset and I'm trying to get the phone out of my fucking carrying thing. And I call her. I'm like, hey, what's up? What's wrong? And she said, are you running?
Where are you?
It's like, I'm gonna fucking keep running until I find a woman who actually listens to me when I look her dead in the face and tell her what I'm doing. Like, yes, I'm running. Why are you calling me? She's like, oh, okay. Well, I'll just tell you when you get home.
It's been 3 years, 7 months.
Yeah, I'm just like, that's why. I told the guys that in the private chat, and then somebody posted
Clyde,
the Forrest
it was
Gump.
Clyde.
Yeah, Clyde
Clyde,
posted the
good.
Forrest Gump.
And
Like,
Clyde's
I'm
good
gonna
with the
keep
gifts,
running
man.
forever.
I don't know where
He
he
is.
gets his gifts from, but fuck, he's good with them.
He is a funny dude. If he would participate in the show more, we could highlight how funny he is. He is clever. So
Yeah.
anyway, I get back to the house, and I found out what it is, and the reason that she wasn't paying attention to me when I looked dead in her face and tell her, "Hey, I'm going for a run," is because she was
passed out again.
She was
No,
in a
worse.
she does that.
It
Like,
hit
right,
87
she does
degrees.
that like right here.
Yeah.
That's where that happens. No, she was texting her brother-in-law because her sister got arrested
Oh God.
because they found an accelerant and a Molotov cocktail type of thing on the
Was it
porch.
yours?
She had hired somebody to burn their house down,
Holy
and then
shit.
like somehow the cops found out, and her sister got taken in for questioning, and then her sister just admitted to all of it, and it's like, holy hell. Like, I guess I understand now why you weren't paying attention to me when I told you I was going for a run, because that's a little less important than, your sister is probably going to be doing some jail time for attempting to have somebody burn her house down.
See, the
Was that like
attempted
to
stuff
defraud
shouldn't
insurance or
be.
something? Like to oh well, I'll collect insurance on the house. Or was
Well,
that
like
what it was?
as soon as they find an accelerant, they're not going to pay out the insurance. Like,
See,
Yeah.
I don't think though. It was an attempt. I mean, it didn't happen. Just, I don't know. You shouldn't go to jail for that shit.
Wait, it didn't
she's
actually
already
burn
got
the
a pretty
house down?
extensive record though, so I think
Wait, say that again.
she already has a pretty extensive record.
Oh,
so
okay.
the attempt is probably enough.
Yeah, but you know what I'm saying. It's like, I
Right,
don't know,
like, if I didn't-
attempt.
It's
It's like I
right,
attempt
like,
to
how
do
you
a lot
gonna-
of shit I don't actually get to do. So
How are you going to put me in jail for attempted murder? If I didn't succeed, then I didn't actually do anything. Like, there
Yeah.
was no murder happened. If it's attempted, then it's not. It's
I only
unsuccessful. Like,
I only beat him to a pulp.
right, this is bullshit. Like, you can't prove that I was attempting to murder them because they didn't actually die. Maybe I did exactly what I was intending to and just rough them up a little bit.
Named them. Yeah, Gave him a
They
good
no
name,
prizes
that
for
was it.
attempted physicist. Here.
Like, being found guilty of conspiracy to attempt to commit murder, like, that's a lot of bullshit about just like a conversation between a couple folks. Like, there's
Look,
no
I
there should be
just
no
said-
legal recourse for that. What's going on here?
I just said, hey, I'll kill you for that. And I
Yeah,
didn't
that's
actually
just
mean
a lot
it.
of hypotheticals. There's no legitimate threats going on here. Just two friends talking,
That's crazy though. So she's gone. She's hanging out with the popo now.
I mean, at least for the time being. And
The worst thing is that she just flat out admits it. Like, I mean, at least have a cover story. Like, oh, like.
Maybe it's one of those people like maybe she just really enjoys being in jail. She doesn't like being out of
I
jail
mean,
and being responsible for herself.
maybe maybe she's just fed up with her kids and decided like jail's a better alternative than
Oh,
putting up with those little fuckers.
speaking of that, did you guys see that video going around Twitter of the woman? I need to.
You got to
send this
narrow
to-
it down. A
Yeah,
little
there's
bit more than that.
Sorry,
a lot of
of the
A lot of
woman.
women on the internet, and they all have videos. Like, is this one of those paid videos? Or
No,
is this a paid
it's
video?
definitely not a paid video. It's her complaining about her kids. I gotta find this video.
Oh
and send
yeah,
it to you.
I've seen this.
I mean, she's
While
like
you
in
find the
tears
video-
complaining about her kids. So yeah,
While you
go
find the video, ignorance when dealing with the cops seems to run in my wife's family. Her cousin also, a cop got called out to her apartment complex for like a domestic disturbance, and he was coming around like asking questions, and he knocks on the cousin's door, and was like, "Have you heard anything, or what's going on with all this?" And she's like, "No, I don't really know anything." He goes, "I smell weed." And she said, "Oh yeah, I've got it in here," and just took him straight to it, and he confiscated her weed. Like,
So it's not legal where you guys live?
no, it's well, yes and no. It's not exactly illegal, but it's also not exactly legal. There's a lot of gray area. You have to have medical.
It's medical marijuana license.
Proper permits.
Yeah, you gotta have the right. You gotta have the right permits and stuff. Like if you got the paperwork that says you can smoke it, then toke up. But if you don't have the paperwork, then you should probably not tell the police officer. Yeah, right here on the table. And luckily, like it's small town, so everybody's friends. So he just like took it and didn't bother beyond that.
My favorite one are the one. Oh, this is it. Yeah, my favorite ones are the ones you hear like where they call the cops because like they stole their weed or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Those are my favorite ones. Okay,
Yeah. So here's the one that
here's
Steve
this
was talking
psycho.
about.
We broke into this building. That motherfucker took my cut. Come arrest him.
I'm so upset that I cannot stop crying and shaking. My daughter makes the simplest of tasks impossible. I'm talking simple tasks like eat your breakfast, go to the bathroom when you wake up. She will not do it. Like she just fucking won't. And now her brother is starting to take after her. I've listened to the podcast. I've read the books. I've tried all of the things. She just is the most difficult person. And she has always been like that. Here I am almost
Takes after
7
mom.
years later, and
Yep.
I am tapped the fuck out.
I
Yeah,
feel
so,
like she hasn't tried beating.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. Like she hasn't. Like
You
clearly-
haven't done everything. Quit lying.
Yeah.
She did the peaceful parenting thing, and then
If you
like
beat
the-
that little motherfucker's ass, I bet they will start doing exactly what you tell
Well,
them.
I wish they had an age on there because like if the kid's 2, yeah, all kids do that at 2 years old.
Oh, she
she,
said
I think
seven.
seven. Yeah,
Oh, did she
said
say 7?
Yeah, she said that one was 7. She didn't say what the young.
I mean,
one
yeah,
was.
my son didn't eat breakfast. He still doesn't eat breakfast half the time. He doesn't want to. You
You just gotta threaten them with an inch of their life, and then they'll do it.
Yeah.
I mean,
Just turn off the Wi-Fi. Fuck.
Yep.
So I've been saying this day and age, I imagine parenting is just Wi-Fi password. No, I'm changing the password. You go do what you're supposed to do, and I'll change it back. That's it.
Yep.
Like
That's why I
total
have
control.
that's why I have the Google Home because I can control what my kids. Oh, you're not going to listen to me? You have no more access.
I just beat him regularly, like on a daily basis. Just whoop the hell out of him. Even if he didn't do anything to deserve it, I'm still gonna whoop the hell out of him every day, just because there's probably something I missed. Like,
I just want to make sure I catch it all.
yeah,
Do you guys? Somebody was talking about calling the cops about weed. Do you guys remember this story? This is from 2019. I thought it was earlier than that. A cop and his wife got too high on edibles and called 911 on themselves.
Oh my god!
Somewhere there's the audio. Oh, okay, maybe this is
Oh, I
it.
remember this one.
A councilman from Dearborn, Michigan is outraged over a 911 call. He wants to know why no charges have been filed against a police officer who admits to
This was from
confiscating
2007,
marijuana from
yeah.
suspects and then baking it in brownies. And
Stolen
once he and his
weed.
wife were full and high, they thought they'd overdosed and called 911.
I think I'm having an overdose of the stores, my wife.
Overdose of what?
Marijuana. I don't know if it had something in it. Can you please send rescue?
Did you guys have fever or anything?
No, I think we're dying.
Okay, how much did you guys have?
I don't know. We made brownies, and I think we're dead. Time is going by really, 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 really slow.
They probably just like ate like 4 of them, thinking
instead
nothing
of
would
being
happen.
charged, Prilla, sorry. Instead of being charged, the police department let the officer resign. His wife was not charged either. So far, police officials have not commented on the case.
Now, how do you follow a story like that? We'll talk about switching.
the poor anchor can't keep it together.
I think I'm dying.
It's awesome. Hey, man, you can really get a fucking panic attack, And it can get scary. I mean, eating pot, it's harder to gauge how much you're consuming, right? So you can really, people can have a bad time in edibles.
Did you ever see the Rogan skit about the gummy bear?
Oh,
Just
no.
eat the leg.
Start somewhere. It take a while to kick in. We actually got some. So Florida, because like the hemp is legal now. There's the Delta 8 and this and that is like legal. The Delta 8 THC, which it doesn't quite do it, but because hemp can have up to 0.3% THC, Delta 9 THC, that's the one you want. What they're able to do is if they make an edible big enough, then like the total volume of it, if the THC is less than 0.3%, like it's legal. So it's kind of like a loophole. You know, and we were going to see a movie, which I'll talk about in a second, the other day. And so you have to have edibles for a movie, you know, because it's a long period of time and they frown on you lighting up in the movie theater. So, so me and old Wayne, we swing by the vape shop and say, you know, give me your fucking baddest edibles, you know, and dude, I got to say for like legal fucking gummies that I could just go in and buy over the counter, I was fucked up. Yeah, they were pretty fucking good.
Yeah, I think we've got the THC gummies and everything that are legal now here. But there was this weird case like here in Alabama where one of the places, I don't know if they were doing something like different, but they got raided apparently because they were selling those products, but I don't know if like maybe they were selling some, you know, actual weed on the side or something like that, and they get caught.
No, they probably just pissed off the wrong city councilman.
Yeah, if something isn't labeled properly, like if you have a head shop and like you don't have for tobacco use only, like on the wall or like on the piece, they can fine you like thousands of dollars per piece in the store.
Yeah, like you gotta have the proper paperwork and everything,
right?
You know, displayed like this is like whatever. Delta 8 THC. So
well, it's up in here in Michigan. It's kind of weird because they have, if you go into a shop to get like the medical or the recreational, like to walk in, you have to like show your license, you have to fill out paperwork, all that stuff. But I could go in. There's some shops I can go into, the ones that are like CBD stores.
Mm-hmm.
I can go into and buy whatever I want, no problems. You know, or the health food stores now carry, the like the gummies with the THC and the CBD in them. Again, no paperwork, no nothing. You don't have to fill out anything to get that stuff. But if you go into the stores, you have to like, I mean, it's like you go into the, you know, give them your license, you fill out all kinds of stuff online. You know, it's really weird.
I think that if the say the effective ingredient is derived from hemp, not marijuana, I think that's a big legal difference because hemp has been like federally legalized or something now. So I think
whereas marijuana itself is not
right.
Still not
So
legal.
they're figuring out ways to get fucked up from the hemp plant and then being able to sell that legally, which is just, again, it's just, I'm just like, just fucking make it legal already, for Christ's sakes. You know, like we have to go through all this rigmarole for all these loopholes. For fuck's sake, just
see. I think the feds aren't making it legal so that they can do a huge seizure one day.
They
like just pull all the money out of it.
They?
Yeah,
if they want to fuck with a particular state, you know.
Yep.
They
so now, like
that.
let's say like you have a state that does not doing what you want them to do, and all of a sudden now it's like, hey, I'm just gonna
completely raid the state.
You cut off everything from the state. You cut off all the funding. You cut off everything until you do it, and then you send the feds in to confiscate everything from those people. You know, I mean,
that'll be us. That'll be Florida.
Yeah, probably.
So
DeSantis will make Dark Brandon mad enough, and then he'll just send all his men in there.
we're getting to be the most hated state, so you know that's cool. So
do you have any like defectors in like some guy? I know you said there was one that they had like the rainbow flag and everything, but like are they like, oh you know, like I'm moving, or are they like, oh, I'm staying here and I'm gonna, you know, turn Florida back, you know, back to what it was or something?
Most of the cities are blue. It just depends on their old people population. Some of the cities that are really old people and you know, are going to be more red. So it just depends. But I mean, like out where I am, nah, dude, nobody's trying to fuck with that.
Yeah, we've got so many vape and smoke shops around here, and all of them they say sell the, you know, Delta 8 THC.
I think a lot of them are money laundering fronts, but
Probably, because like how many smoke shops can you have? Like, because it's like you got this one over here, this one on the other corner. It's like
since vape started getting
Yeah.
more popular, maybe there's more, people walking to, and now it's like smoking weed is just so much more, even where it's not legal, it's just so much more, it's nobody gives a fuck. It's just the way it is, like where so many states have it legal and shit, just nobody gives a fuck. So I think that people are just like, whatever, we'll just sell fucking pipes everywhere. Where it used to be you had to go 2 cities over to go to the head shop, or the real skeezy, Airby gas station that might have a little display off to the side or something. I want to
even in the little sleepy town I'm in, man, there's like 2 smoke shops and they just opened up a weed store. Like, and it's pretty damn conservative here, man. It's
everybody smokes
all
weed,
old
though.
Dutch white people here.
Yeah, you'd be surprised.
I mean, that's outside the cities, though. Like, generally outside the cities, like it is more like if you're in a big city, it's blue, pretty much. Like, because here, Birmingham, Huntsville, they're both like real big blue cities. I mean, you would think Huntsville would be a little bit more red, but like still, it's heavy
Red areas
blue.
still smoke a lot of pot, though. You guys
State's blue
understand that,
now.
right? We're
Yeah.
on the same page there, right? You know that.
Oh yeah.
You think an old conservative dude or the old farmer guy down the street ain't lighting up? You're fucking crazy. Yeah, no, it'll surprise you sometimes. But yeah, it's okay. Okay, I'm just making sure.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, our state, they just passed they got it through the House, basically that if you misgender, it's a $10,000 fine, and $10,000 fine, and it could be considered a state felony.
It sounds like you need to take a
No, it
page out of
actually makes the
SDG's
house.
book and move to Florida.
I need to get the fuck out of this
Oh,
state.
damn.
I do.
Dag is like, no more. We're full. Like,
I'll come and hang out with Dag's goats. I'll live with the goats.
Yeah, I'm building him a new house. You can stay in there. So before we end, I want to talk about something terrible that happened this weekend at the movie theater. And
no.
Wayne can.
You saw the Transformers movie?
This up or tell me I'm crazy, but no, we saw the new Indiana Jones movie.
I'm sorry.
It was bad. Yeah. Well, this thing with the shop I used to work at, like every few months, they do like a movie premiere with like the local radio station, and it's like an event. So I just get a pair of tickets, every time. That's how I usually go. It's usually a bad movie, but whatever, it's free, and it's eat some edibles and make fun of it. But there wasn't even anything good to make fun of. Like it's 2.5 hours.
did it not have the like, oh, there are Nazis or whatever comment? There was something I was seeing circulating.
Big
It was like,
opening
oh,
scene,
these people
Nazi killing. That was the best part of the movie. That was the most entertaining or funniest. Like that there was, I'm like, okay, this might be funny, and then it just drug for hours, 2.5 hours.
The last one was so bad. We didn't even finish it.
that
My
what
wife
you-
finished it, but I fell asleep.
The Kingdom of the Crystal Skull.
Yeah, I didn't finish it.
Yeah, the
Oh
part
my
where
God.
he gets
If
into the
you-
refrigerator
I think I made it
to
like
live
you
through
did.
new.
Finish it. Okay, if you didn't finish Kingdom of the Crystal Skull, you have a better opinion of it than if you had. Like if you made it all the way to the end, you'd have been like, "Really? This is the direction we're going with this? Like, what the fuck is wrong with the people making this movie?" Like that's how I felt about it. I never ever write a bad review about anything online, like ever. It doesn't matter how bad. If it's that bad that I hated it, I'm just like, all right, wash this from my brain and move on. Like I don't write bad reviews. I went out of my way to go write a bad review on that one. Like it was,
DB,
I was
first
other-
review.
Like people need to know. Like, do not watch this. Holy fuck!
The part where he gets in the refrigerator to live through the nuclear blast in Nuketown was just. I'm like.
So yes, if this one is worse than that one, then I was warning people don't see the last one. If this one is worse than that, then there's a 0% chance I'm going to go see it.
Yeah, definitely.
Well, they're trying to push
cool.
the Harrison Ford out of it, so that they're trying to get that chick. I forget her name.
Is
They're
this who
trying to get her
SDG's talking about? There's
Yeah,
a female in it who must have been from the previous movie or something.
Was she
Were
not
any
in
of
the
you
new
guys
one?
into the old ones? Like, were you guys
Yeah, I
big?
love the first three.
Yeah, the first 3 are awesome. The first 3 are great.
Yeah, Crystal Skull. I mean,
That was the fourth. That one doesn't
I just
exist. It's like Star Wars.
yeah.
The episode 1, 2, and 3 don't exist. They're not real movies. They were never
Yeah.
made. It's
Once
just
Jar Jar
it's the
Binks came into
Mandela
the
effect
picture.
of movies.
Oh
Those
man,
three
we were
movies
playing
don't exist.
N64 pod racer game yesterday. It was difficult.
Oh yeah.
Those
Was it the
N64
new
games
one?
are actually hard to play.
Oh no, N64.
Yes, they were very hard. We played that. We played Cruising USA. The one that was actually most fun was Madden. And I'm not a football guy, but we played a game of Madden. And
Yeah,
wasn't
I
bad.
have
could
that
play
The
it
old
again.
Maddens were great.
Yeah, those
Oh, it's
original
the-
ones were fun.
It's the Fleabag chick. She's not even attractive. Like, why?
Yeah.
I mean, she's funny, but Indiana Jones franchise isn't supposed to be funny. I don't need. And she's not really like funny, haha. She's funny like, oh my gosh, that's ridiculous funny.
He had some
character was
good
bad.
one-liners. He had good one-liners, or just like good skits that they would do, but nothing. It wasn't supposed to be a funny movie.
Well, you guys
Sorry.
remember the South
I
Park?
didn't mean to kill that.
You guys remember the South Park where they were talking about remaking the old movies and they redid all the old rape scenes from movies as like,
God, no.
it's like Indiana Jones get raped on the pinball machine, like in that. What's that from The Accused or something? So they're like redoing
God.
all the classic rape scenes with the classic movies being redone, and you know.
Oh, that sounds
Oh, my
awful.
God.
Oh yeah.
Oh, that sounds awful. Have you guys watched Silo
Mm-mm.
on
Yes,
Apple TV?
Yes, I've enjoyed that.
Did you watch the last episode?
No, so shut the
Oh,
fuck up.
it's probably some of the best writing I've seen in years.
All
It's
right, so that. All right, now I know what Stephanie and I are doing this evening. See, usually we'll sit down and watch that on like Saturday or Sunday afternoon, but we've had with all the storms and stuff, and we've had other shit going on. Like we went to the Cardinals game yesterday, and so our usual routine has been kind of.
They get spanked as usual.
No, they won. Cardinals. They beat.
They beat the Yankees.
Beat the Yankees. Yeah, that was a good game.
Oh,
they had
man,
a pitcher had a no hitter going through 5,
Dang.
and then they still ended up winning. I think they ended up winning 4-1 or something, 5-1. It was a good game.
I haven't been to a baseball game in probably 30 years.
It's been a while for me, probably at least 10.
I used to go when I grew. Oh, go on.
Yeah, I started going because my son, trying to get him get them interested in it, get them into baseball, but because like he just like was anti doing anything that wasn't just like, hey, I want to catch bugs or whatever.
Your son sounds cool, man.
Yeah.
He's like, I want to catch bugs and drink from Camelback. Fuck off.
Yeah, he'd live outside if I could trust him not to be act insane about everything. He just goes nuts.
Drink from a Camelback, chase bugs, living the best life.
Hell yeah, man. Yeah, that was definitely me as a kid. I don't want to scare you or anything, but that's a lot like me as a kid.
I was gonna say, man, he's gonna send him out to hang out with Dag for a couple weeks, man.
Look up here in the top left quadrant, and this is what you get to look forward to in about.
Like, oh god.
Buckle up, buddy.
Oh,
In 20 years from now, your kid's gonna have like a goat farm and like a pot farm and goat farm.
You know, if my kids did all of that, I would be perfectly fine with it. That seems like the better alternative to what he's doing right now, which is getting ready to get his ass whooped as soon as we end this.
Or they could always end up being yuppies or something.
Real quick before Dag, how many farmers markets do you do every week?
Oh, I just do,
You do a lot
when
of
I'm
them?
doing them. I just do one every 2 weeks right now.
Oh,
I
okay.
should expand. Some of them are a big pain in the ass and have a lot of like rules and shit that I can comply with. I just don't like them. The market I
Okay.
go to, the guy's like, I just provide a market. I don't give a fuck. You don't give a fuck if anybody's got their certifications or like you can just go sell cooked food. He don't give a fuck if you have like a license to do that. Like
That sounds
do whatever the
awesome.
fuck you want. Yeah, it's fucking great. And another big issue I ran into, which you might run into this too, is a lot of farmers markets don't like you to have 2 of one thing. But They call it
Yeah.
farmer's market, but they only have one person with vegetables. Sorry, you can't
Yeah.
sell vegetables here. We already have a vegetable person. I'm like, what the fuck is this? Call yourself a bazaar or some shit, but not a fucking farmer's market. You know?
Right.
Yeah,
what
I know, so-
what happened to free market capitalism and competition? Like if one guy's got vegetables and I've got different vegetables. Maybe he doesn't have the heirloom tomatoes like what I've got.
Yeah.
You know,
Well, exactly. Well, we
I'm
had the
doing-
person who sold veggies. They just had regular produce stand shit. I was like, we don't have the same.
I'm doing
product.
5 to 6 a week now. It's insane.
maybe
That's
he's
a
got
lot.
just
That's
regular
cool.
yellow squash and I've got the good butternut squash. People might want
Mm.
some variety in their vegetables. You know?
Yes. Yeah, no,
Exactly.
there's some places that have those rules. There's one that's like we had canceled one on Tuesday because of the air quality because Canada's burning.
Oh,
I think Canada's burning because they should be burning, but you know,
It's God's
when
will.
you fuck with the truckers, this shit burns down eventually.
Yeah, we're like this ain't
Um,
the fucking Highlander of farmers markets.
I understand if you don't want to be 6 candle people. You know what I mean?
should
Like
be
that's
the
a bit
requirement.
much.
Like,
Yeah,
You know,
I mean,
all,
you can't
enforcing
have-
all those kind of rules and doing all that kind of stuff, you know, it has to be kind of retarded.
Because democracy basically means government by the people, of the people, for the people. But the people are retarded.